perform as well, but they would pay much less for it. So it would have another target audience. More people will be able to afford them, at least when it's new and all. And so what they did was use that same principle of applying a sheet of something above something else. So they would have usually a much cheaper sheep, that is what I mean by sheep, wool, felted wool, a hat, like this one. So this is still the best, practically the best sheep, at least on a manufactural level, on an industrial level. This is the best you could get as a sheep felted wool. I mean, just the wool itself, forget the hat. The hat was badly made, not the felt itself. They will usually be less good than that. For example, they use merino sheep wool here, which is a very soft and one of the most expensive, luxurious breeds of sheep, and they use them, and it means that they are baby sheep. So the wool is even more luxurious. Often they would use adult wool, or at least not the merino one, because you will understand the process. Just to keep it cheap. So it would be a heavier hat than this, heavier, they would make it they would sort of make basically a hat. They would make the hat, as per my understanding, they would take that blank of a sheep wool. For more expensive hats, they have sort of in between would have might use even a beaver felted wool, but it would be matte like this, but then it might be very soft, but then it would be even heavier. Probably make the hat, block it. So the wool hat will be made like this. It's all one piece, having it blocked and everything. And once this is done, before putting the trimmings, they will take a very thin. So how to make that? When I explain how to make the long-haired peluche. So peluche means long-haired, Wild-Hare, felted wool, because it has been felted, but then brushed it looks like fur, like as if it had not been taken off from the skin, but really it is felt still, or at least it used to be felt before they brushed it. The color is still felt, but you can't see that it is felt. It does not look like this. It is not matte felt. It's the opposite of matte. But how did they make it very thin? So they're not actually individually stick each hair and plug it and stick it to that felted cheaper hat. No, it was just a very thin piece of felt. They kept it so thin that first of all they could not brush the underside, there was not enough felt for that. But when they brushed it, it was a much quicker job, because it was such a thinner piece of felt, so thin that it would not hold by itself. It would look like those hippie modern hats, that are all floppy and how much you stiffen them, it would not hold their shape and look awful. Many women wear these. I mean, today, it would kind of be like that, except it will still look nice with the long plush. So they would take that, probably heat it, put a lot of shellac, perhaps on the underside of it, or at least they would put it on the actual hat itself, and then stick it onto. Perhaps they might stick a separate piece, even to surface. I do not know. They might have stuck a separate piece for at least the crown, then the brim, or even the top of the crown, the top of the crown, and the brim. This is possible. It is possible to have them different ways. The problem with those hats was often kind of a bad performance on the long term, especially if one took a dark color, like a dark brown. By dark brown, I mean a brown that is almost black, or dark gray again, a gray that is almost black, or a black, whereby it is easier to keep it a long time because it does not look dirty quickly, and then with polish it is easy to mask away stains that can't be removed, because yes, that is the thing. Even with the true Wild-Hare ones that are very heavy, of which the entire thing is Wild-Hare, they can't be sanded like these hats can be sanded to remove stains. Kind of, it does not remove them super well, but they can. I over-sanded that one, So this is why it is all floppy and soft now, and it even has a hole there. But it can't, because as soon as you sand it, you take away the hairs. So obviously, with those that have not been brushed on the outside, they could still sand the inside, but not is very useful. And also, by sanding the inside, it might still damage the hair on the outside, and nobody really cares about the inside. So they cannot be sanded, you know, or a teeny bit, and it is not good to do it. But perhaps in an extreme case, you know, you might do that after 6 months or a year of constant everyday wear. On just that really soft spot, you know, just did that, and that is like 3 times, and that is it, with a soft, very fine sun grid paper. So obviously, with most of those long peluche ones, whereby they actually applied it in sheet, it could even less be sanded. You would just rip off the hair, and you will see the actual felt beneath. And the problem also was during the caloting process. So the caloting process, they used mercury. Why? They still did later on, but they used a high dosage then, because it gave a better, faster, and a better quality result. The problem is that, again, because of how it was made, people were breathing these things in, and this is when, especially the people sending the hats afterwards, because these were the most affected. They did not wear any protection, and by they breathed in all those particles that carried the mercury. And because they often sent them when it's still kind of hot, it was even worse. The mercury was still kind of reactive, and so after years of that, they would develop all these mental paranoid depressions and anxieties, and this started becoming mental and also developing cancers and everything. So, but even the other people before that applying the mercury, but in lesser degree, actually, those were less affected. But the caloting process was used with, especially the genuine long-haired ones, to cure, even before that, to cure the hides, to separate the underglove hair from the above glove that they did not want. But then, even with those fake ones I explained, they still used, I think, the caloting process with that felt, at least when it was a rabbit, so the sort of in-between ones where the actual hat, before they apply the Wild-Hare sheet, they would pass it through the caloting. They call it caloting process because it turned the felt to a callot color. Obviously, it could be dyed over. They often did not do that to save cost, which will bring problems afterwards, I would explain. But so they happened with the color of a carrot, orangey. So the brownish orange type of thing. So like a very light, sort of a dotty, sort of a tannish orange color, like a dark tan, orangey, gingery color. Kind of like the carrots back then. They were not bright orange like today, because these are basically manipulated genetically carrots. Back then they were natural, so the genuine carrot color. So they had with rabbit or rabbit blended with sheep wool, so the wool of a rabbit and the wool of a sheep blended together to make a felt. I think to sort of lose the long hair stuff, they would pass it through the caloting process, which would turn that felt to a carrot color, which they would often not dye, or dye lightly. And you may think, why, since they're going to put that sheet over, and they also sometimes pull in the sheet on the other side. Not the other side was very complicated because it was already made into a hat, but you know, on the brim at least. So you may think, why do that? Well, because the sheet of very thin peluche, Wild-Hare and nutria felt was so thin, it would, through time, especially back then, very few, you're talking late 18th, mostly this was done actually from 1810 10.